Assalamualaikum and hi, I bid to all my classmates and our beloved lecturer, Professor Madya Dr. Nur Afza binti Amran. I'm Huda and I'll be explaining on the theory used to analyze this case, which is fraud triangle theory. Previously, I had explained briefly on the case that I was assigned to, which is the KingJewels Ethical Leadership in Practice. Before that, welcome back to my page. After you watch this video, I would love if you guys could lend me a hand by answering some questions regarding this case that I was assigned to. There will be 15 questions altogether. Just click the link that I have provided here and you are good to go. So let's get started. Wait, let me just... Okay, here. We will start off by identifying the background of this theory. Several decades ago, after considerable research, Donald Ray Christie, a well-known criminologist, developed this theory. He published Other People's Money, a study in the social psychology of embezzlement, as he was interested in the circumstances that led embezzles to temptation. In order to fight fraud, we must not only realize that it occurs, but also need to know how and why it occurs. Christie's theory focused on the individual and the identification on ways to improve internal control measures to prevent fraud. The theory was adopted as an empirically valid explanation of fraud, describing three necessary elements for crimes to occur, which are pressure, also known as incentive or motivation, opportunity, and rationalization. For fraud to occur, all three elements must present. Let's us have a look on the first element, pressure. Pressure can be a sort of motivation that leads one to commit fraud. What would be the one that drives someone to commit fraud? Pressure sometimes may involve personal situations that create a demand for more money. For instance, drug use, gambling, or merely life events like a spouse losing a job. In addition, pressure may arise from problems they face when doing their job. For example, unrealistic performance targets that inspire one to perpetrate fraud. The second element that led to fraud would be opportunity. When fraud happened, for example, the smuggling of companies' money, there must be something to steal and a way to steal it. A huge amount of money, a value that no one could resist, is something to steal, while weakness in the company's operation could be a way to steal it. Among the three elements of fraud triangle, opportunity is often hard to spot on, but easy for company to control and make procedural changes. The last one would be rationalization. There were two aspects to rationalization. One, the fraudster must conclude that the gain from the fraudulent activity overweights the possibility for detection. Two, the fraudster needs to justify the fraud. Justifications include job dissatisfaction or a sense to perceive entitlement, a current intention to make the victim whole in the future, or the desire to protect one's family, property, and status. The fraudster's rationalization can be detected by observing his or her words or attitudes. Let's have a look back on the case. When Wyman separately initiated a chat with her brother, who is the head of the gem sourcing department, as she suspected that sourcing might play an important role in the incident, Tam cut short their conversation and instructed Wyman to delay her investigation and stated that he done those acts for their own good sake. Wyman was so confused on why did her brother commit fraud and acted that way. Why did Clementine behave that way? From the perspective of the fraud triangle theory, the three elements must lead her brother to act that way. Let's have a look on all three elements that led Clementine to commit fraud. The first one would be pressure. The two sourcing companies by the names of Sura Gems and Denpa Stones had supplied those substandard stones. Wyman had been doing a further investigation and found that they just started doing business with KingJewels 3 years ago, but had recorded a high business volume over the years and became the biggest sourcing companies within KingJewels' portfolio. To Wyman's surprise, the two companies' registered owner was Peter Tam, their uncle. Considering his relationship with his uncle, Clementine helped his uncle's company to earn contracts with KingJewels to supply those substandard stones while he earned large rebates. Tam was very close with Peter as they frequently dined at fancy restaurants and clubs together. Both of them also involved in excessive gambling. The second element, which is opportunity, Clementine was being appointed on trust by Andy Wong as the head of department of Gem Sourcing Department in KingJewels. Andy left KingJewels' internal management to Clementine and had opened an opportunity to Clementine to commit fraud. The last one would be rationalization. Clementine felt the need to meet the company's ambitious growth target of Hong Kong dollars 600 million as total revenue and 2% of market share next year, even with those malicious acts to earn their annual bonuses since they are tied to the growth target. All these elements affected his action in committing fraud. That's all for the lesson on theory for this case that I was assigned to. Thank you guys for listening.